Good evening, my wonderful people, and welcome to Stat Check episode 126. You won't believe the changes to Anthony's Bile list. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day, whether they're playing games, sitting at home, doing some work, or procrastinating at work, which is what I hope you're all doing on this fine day. How is everybody? I'm Innes. I'm joined by Jeremy, Anthony, and Nathan. We've got the full house for the first time in it feels like ages. It's good to see so many wonderful, unhappy faces all together.
It's only 50% unhappy faces.
We got
The
a
other
pickles.
50%.
Now we have a true full house.
40% unhappy faces now. So let's do the usual kickoff. We are going to be talking about all things Warhammer this week. We have got Pyra lists and comps and information. They're playing like full power Yannari, so I refuse to acknowledge it in the episode of that tournament now because it's just going to be crazy. We've got stats, we've got results, we've got the first weekend of Eldar data, all good things and more to come from everybody. We've also got the usual show questions at the end, but we're going to start off with the easy bit. Jeremy, how's your week been? I heard you had quite a successful weekend.
I did. I played at one of the Red Dragon GTs and I won it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then we got to a discussion, and then this happened because people were like, "How many trophies do you have?" And I went, "I don't know. They're all sitting in a box somewhere." So,
I wonder if I can angle my camera a little more up.
yeah, you have quite the shelf there.
Oh, wow.
UKTC knows how to do trophies right. That's all I'm gonna say.
The little
nice.
3 in the middle of the bookshelf with the Wheel of Time on it is the ETC third place trophy as well from 2018. So
Nice.
it's maybe the least impressive trophy up there because it's just like a trophy store trophy. But we didn't get trophies provided by the event back in 2013. We got little 3D printed miniatures, and one of the Team Denmark guys, the Army Painter sponsor, Bo Penstoff, messaged us all separately and was like, "We're getting you a trophy this year," because there weren't trophies provided by ETC at the time.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's funny because like this is the one that I'm the most proud of because it's a Champions Cup, but it's also just like again,
It's not a particularly nice trophy, is it?
It's fine.
a cup.
Yeah, it was a good time. I took Josh Roberts' Ultramarines list, Gladius to the GT. I played into. We'll talk a little more about it. But I played into Admech. I played into Legion of Excess. I played the Mirror against Francois, and then I played against. I don't remember my round 4 now, and I feel really bad. Oh, I played against Tau. That was actually a nail biter of a match, and then I put Solar Spearhead into the ground.
That sounds about right.
Nice.
How you been doing, Nathan?
Oh, no, it's been a long 3 weeks.
Mildly for you.
Life's changed quite a lot in the last 3 weeks.
My life is changing quite dramatically. So,
I really wish
finally...
I had a soundboard of that ska song "Sellout" right now.
Yeah. I mean, we can figure it out post. Jeremy
Yeah.
can edit that in post just for you, I'm
Go
sure.
find
We'll
it.
definitely get
Jeremy
copy
would-
strikes.
I'm sure that we'd love.
Oh, we
that
never get copyright
strike.
strikes on our uploads. It's just on the YouTube that we do. So I'll definitely put it in there if you want that as the cold open.
Sure. Every single week, I have to submit a "please stop doing this. We have a license" request to YouTube
We
for our
really
entry,
should just get our own
intro
music
and
for that,
outro song.
just to save Nathan the 10 minutes of his life it takes every
It's
week.
funny because it's automated clearly, but it would be funny if they just put in a like an exception at this point because I submit it every week. But it's fine.
I think we're just gonna have to
126
get
episodes
our own
later, we're
music.
still submitting the please let us use this. We have a license. I have the license file. Please stop.
But yes, I am exiting academic science. I have received a job offer that I accepted technically this morning, and they sent over a bunch of paperwork that I have to sign. Not as much paperwork as I was sent when I started doing judging for GW, funnily enough. GW sent me far more paperwork to sign. I have 3
Much
things that I
higher
have to
stakes
sign.
position, Nathan. You understand?
Yeah, and which is fine. Like, I didn't mind, but it is funny that it is just one DocuSign PDF that I need to sign instead of like 15 separate ones.
Yeah.
So I will be
Still have
moving
energy
to
there.
Boston in 3.5 weeks.
East
So
Coast.
I have
East
to
Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, East Coast, West Coast, I guess. I'll be moving to Boston on I fly to Boston on the 15th or 16th. I still have to decide because I still have to figure out what I'm doing for housing? Question mark. I don't know.
I can
Is
ask
that
people.
it? That's not important.
I'm gonna probably do some kind of short-term lease while I figure out what Boston is actually like, so I don't just go there and pick a random apartment in some terrible part of Boston somehow. But yeah,
We have stat check people up that way. Someone can help you.
it's true. So I will be moving out there in a few weeks, and then I start my job on the 18th of March, so a month from now. That's my first day. The day after St. Patrick's Day, we'll see if Boston burns itself to the ground or something during St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure it does, because that's
I hear it only does that every so often.
yeah. So I will do that, and then I will be splitting time a little bit between Boston and Chicago for a little while my wife finishes up school, and then we will fully move to Boston. And yeah, it is very, very strange to receive an offer and suddenly realize that you're going to make almost 3 times the salary you did a week before.
Yes. Yes.
So that's really cool, and the company's really cool. At some point, I will talk a little bit more about it if people are interested in it, but I will not talk about it right now because I don't really care to. But yeah, it's back to what I did my PhD thesis in, so it'll be really cool to kind of return to biology and return to repro medicine and stuff. Yeah, I'll be at Harvard, basically, more or less, working in their accelerator, and that will be cool. Yeah.
I'm so
So
excited.
yeah, I have played 40K, just not a lot of it. I picked up the Eldar book and assembled a bunch of Eldar miniatures. All the Phoenix Lords, even though I don't think I'm going to play half of them. But nonetheless, assembled, ready to go. And then, yeah, played a couple games. Really excited to see how kind of people land because everybody's switched from Aspect and Warhost kind of more over to all the devotees of Yniad basically now. So, yeah, see what happens.
Yunari is objectively the coolest Eldar option possible. It's just not a well-built detachment from a other person gets to have fun in the game at all perspective.
I hate that model so much. I
think that model's really cool.
I love how pretty.
The head fell off in transport, and I had to reglue it, and it genuinely took me 25 minutes to reglue the head around the body because I was
that's
positioned. It was the worst, and if it ever breaks again, I'm just going to kill myself in Minecraft.
Yep. So I did think about pinning it, but I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna fit a pin driver in there to pin it in place. So I've just convinced myself that if it ever breaks, I'm just gonna leave it as a disembodied head floating on a weird spiral.
That's how I
of
played
blood.
it at the weekend for my practice games. With
It's fine. It takes up the same amount of space as a floating head as it does without the floating head.
Yeah, but without the sword, you can't peek in through WC ruins to flamer people inside the building.
Oh, I see.
So
fair enough.
That's why you do the sword instead of the daggers, bro. You got to be able to see down.
I mean, mine has the sword, but it was because it looked cooler.
Mine has the sword and one dagger because I tried clipping the little sign thing, the symbol thing off.
It's hard. It breaks.
I was just like, nope. So we're doing sword and dagger.
Yeah, and I will also say they do Ynnari so dirty in the new codex and the lore. They're like, oh, and then the Ynnari all break up, and now there's just a few of them over there in the corner doing stuff. Maybe Fulgrim has the sword.
Maybe they should just go away.
It
Every single edition, their rules cause some kind of problem, so maybe we should just retcon them away.
Should both just be sent to the big detachment in the sky where they go and live together, so they don't ruin any more editions.
You can save them for narrative.
Yeah, but I got to build my page-long document on shit Ynnari, and that's going to show up.
I've posted
it's
it
a full table picture of the shit Ynnari to do when you do something.
That table makes me so angry.
I copy and pasted it into another Discord and tagged a couple people who regularly get just trounced by Eldar, so it was fun for me.
Yeah.
Here's your cheat sheet. Get used to it. Yeah. I'm gonna play Eldari in the new 5-man teams thing that we got going in Vibe Check League for Vibe Check teams. Because Innes was generous enough to let me play them instead of Innes playing them.
Wow.
Although Innes looks really mad that he let me decide, but I'm channeling that East Coast energy of I get to do what I want.
The main thing is that I'm currently scheduled for 5 team events, playing 5 different factions right now, which is just like.
All right, I'm gonna pull captain's privilege here. Innes is playing Eldari. You're playing guard.
It's
you got the.
Oh no!
You got the wrong.
You made the mistake of taunting him on live.
Shit.
Nathan,
Innis,
you also you channeled the wrong energy, not the East Coast energy. You tripled your income. You're channeling that rich man energy. Come on, bud. I can show him what's for.
Here.
This broke ass content creator, fucking pro 40K gamer
$100 you
kid.
can have them.
Yeah, there you go. See,
I will say, even with the salary, I still can't afford a house in Boston.
yeah, that's just being born after 1990, bro. Welcome to the fucking club.
Like,
Yeah, but
like,
he was
I
born in
looked
the
at
80s.
Way older.
Nah, I don't think he was.
I was born in the 80s.
Not financially.
There's
not
definitely some
financially,
musicians
no.
who have love for you. So
I will say that, the average house cost being like over $1 to $1.5 million. I was like, oh, I'm not buying one of those anytime.
That's like looking
soon.
at buying a house in New York City. People don't. That's not real life. Like you buy a house outside the area and you commute in like an adult with no aspirations. Come on.
It was also funny listening to people complain about long commutes, and then I looked at the commute from a few places to where I was going to work, and it was like 30 minutes across the whole fucking city.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is half my commute.
It's worth
currently.
noting that if you checked that as a driver outside of rush hour, during rush hour, that might be a different number.
I was checking the train, to be fair.
Oh, I got nothing then.
Yeah, that actually sounds quite nice.
Is the Boston train system good?
It seems fine. It doesn't run 24 hours, it seems like, but it runs fine. It's got a decent enough number of cars.
Yeah, I think when I took it
It's
a
like-
couple years ago, it was perfectly reliable.
It's like 5
Certainly beat
colors.
driving in downtown Boston.
Yeah, I don't know how people drive in Boston. We went into like a tunnel under the water, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
It's
We're
science,
underwater
Nathan.
right
That's your
now.
whole
What are we
thing.
doing? Yeah, that's a different kind of science, though.
Mm.
But also, we're talking way off course, I suppose. Apparently, I've been assigned to guard now, and now Innis is on Eldar. Anthony, how is your weekend in 40K?
My weekend involved having the flu and just dying, just getting absolutely ruined. I haven't gotten like just like straight owned by a sickness in a minute, and I got like actually just laid out. Like it started to hit me.
the last time you got was your wisdom teeth out, right? That was probably.
And I still went to a tournament like that,
Yeah.
even if I looked like complete shit.
You
I
shouldn't have.
could not have played any Warhammer. I could barely move or speak. I had to just like lay in bed with a fever until the heat won. Like it was bad. It was really bad. So that was fun. It's cool that it ended before I had to go to Pyra. So thanks a whole lot for that, timing gods of the wider universe. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. I just laid in bed and was sick. Pyra stuff's live now, so that's cool. We've been doing a bunch of prep. I have to play against some Eldar thing or something later as my like last practice game before we ship off to the Great Beyond. Just to
How'd
see.
you change your list for Bile?
I didn't. I saw a lot of people took the thing that was good and made it worse, though. Oy vey, fucking a blitz? Have you guys fired a blitz that aren't in veterans? Come on, a blitz. Ugh.
People are just trying to really make the most of hitting that ballistic skill buff.
I just don't. Just be sad when it happens. Just be upset. It's okay to be sad sometimes.
I have still
Is it?
in like 8 games against Bile never had them hit ballistic skill.
I almost hit double my initial roll was double ballistic skill the other day, and I was like, "Oh no, not like this," because it was on TTS, and the first time you hit, you just hit roll all dice again, it's just gonna be 2 6s twice, so you have to scrap the dice and get 2 new ones and try again. So says the superstition.
Yeah, the script gods, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Blitzer-
every single game I've played against, Bile so far, they've hit strength and another damage buff. Or toughness when I was a mass strength 4 army. It's all that's the only.
I mean, the great trick with Bile, right, is that like at the start of the game, any 2 buffs you hit, your opponent's like, those are the 2 best ones against me, and they get all mad every time. And the reality
I'm
is,
just mad every time they hit 2 buffs. So I'm just like,
yeah, the reality is, any 2 buffs are fucked up. I haven't been playing a lot of Renegade Raiders, right? I played a game as Renegade Raiders the other day, and I was like, half my rule only works sometimes, and half my rule only works on some stuff. This sucks! This is so much worse than having insane pure stat boosts army-wide. What the fuck is this? Why would anyone ever play this on purpose? This is crazy. So yeah, as it turns out, just being like, oh, these two stats are better. It's like, oh, sometimes? No, all the time. Oh, just for some of the stuff? No, for all the stuff. It's like, what? Yeah, insane. Absolutely nuts. Bile can have no stratagems and it would be good.
Get +1 attack when you need it occasionally if you didn't hit it. And...
So, like, I think I've used that strat once, like,
Look,
ever.
The fact that you don't use that strat is wild, because I know you don't need it, just ever. But the fact that it exists and it's like the worst strat in that detachment, just about, is wild.
If it was 1 CP.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or didn't hurt you. It and the reroll wounds are both like someone got really excited about a rule and gave it too many rules, and then it had to be 2 CP, and then it was like, no, just pull back on the stuff and just keep it at 1. But that's not what happened. So we got what we got. I don't think I've ever remembered to tell someone to take a battle shock test after using reroll wounds, by the way. That strat is just twin linked to me. I've never once been like, and also battle shock, unless it's been like as a joke on someone's transport that didn't matter.
I still have let him beat Manny that second time. The take a battle shock for killing the model.
Yeah, sure.
So, when you need it, it'll be there for you, Anthony. You just
that is the other half of the ballistic skill AP strat, isn't
correct, yeah.
I definitely did like 10 practice games with Vanguard and completely forgot about that every time.
Yeah, so like, in general, Bile's been going really well. It just keeps working. Every time I play other variants of it, I'm upset. I've tried cutting the dogs for 10 talons. That lasted like 2 games. The first time that I charged 10 talons into something and didn't kill it, I was ready to throw them through a wall. I've tried swapping them for another rhino full of legionnaires. It didn't. It was just more of the same. It's fine. I tried swapping them for some more lords and reducing the amount of chosen. And then the first time I had a turn where my opponent like measured how far I could go, and then I could only advance and charge once. I was pretty upset. Didn't love that broadly. Yeah, I don't get why people are taking less of the fast things that hit real hard, but it seems to work so far for me.
Every time someone tries to send me a Bile list that's not your one, I'm like, why not spend that?
Yeah, and look, again, I have successfully passed the wisdom into the community. Others are doing really well running this archetype. I will tell you, my new absolute favorite thing is an opponent that has clearly like talked shit about them at some point, playing me for the first time, and then having to interact with the war dogs and being like, these are really annoying. It happens almost every game, and it is so funny. God bless the War Dog Huntsman datasheet. Please do not ever go up in cost, or I will cut you for an executioner immediately. Don't get uppity with your melt-a-gun. You're there because you're cheap. Watch it.
Your datasheet rule is BOC8, the Melta is tertiary.
Yeah, the Melta is funny sometimes, dude. Every once in a while, a Space Marine player will be like, I'm a Dreadnought, and put a Ballistus in the middle, and then you get to just launch that nerd into the sun. But aside from when that happens...
Yeah, I'm sorry, they're Melta what?
Yeah, exactly that. If you can just... The great trick with the Huntsman is you just need the 2 3s to hit. If you can land that gate, you're probably good. But you just get the 2 3s to hit, and then you're through the door, basically. Then you're on 3s, you're rolling 1s into, like, bad saves, into big damage. Just gotta get the 2 3s to hit. But yeah.
A tall order.
It's a tall order, but when it happens, dude, it's fucking huge. 8 plus 2d6 damage, it's different if you get both past the save. That shit is rude. So yeah, I don't really have anything else. The list has been really good. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really hopeful that I get to play against Poland A, B, I forget. One of them has a green tide list with just like a gorillion boys in it. And I want to play against that shit. It's so cool.
Who wins?
Yeah. What'd you say?
Who wins that matchup?
Me? Fucking lose a melee mirror. How dare you? He doesn't have guns in his army.
Something about Death Guard?
Yuck. That guy had guns. He had so many guns. I mostly died in the shooting phase in that game. I also was sick. Being sick IRL is bad for you kids. As it turns out, health is.
He has a shock dump dragster.
Yep. I have more guns than him.
He's got rocket launchers and all his boys.
I'm not gonna front. Sometimes those rocket launches fuck your shit up. That's real life when you have 3 wounds. Like, just an orc just, like, leans out a window and is like, 4 of them dead. And you're like, ah! I needed those!
I would have loved to keep my fucking...
Yeah.
Oh.
So we'll see how it goes. That's another one where people were like, we were talking about it a little bit, and people were like, oh, do you just pick strength in that matchup? I'm like, any 2 offensive buffs will always be better than one of the best offensive buff. You're a weapon skill 3 army across the board. Going to 2, insane. An extra attack, wild. Any of these things, all great. Movement, functionally an offensive buff most of the time. The only buff you ever hard pick as Bile, ever, is movement. And that's if you're just going to kill whatever you touch anyway. But those matchups are usually really bad anyway, and you're just trying to score a 6. So, keep that in mind.
As
Anyway.
for myself... Sorry, Anthony.
No, I was just going to say, that's it.
As for myself, I played 3 games of Ynnari on Sunday. Holy shit, what a stupid army. That was very fun. Myself and Bruce got together and we played 3 games of Ynnari versus Bile. And the first game was a 10-10 because I had no idea what was going on and couldn't roll dice for toffee. D6 plus 1 damages were just printed value 2 into possessed. It was brilliant. I think it was like 6 times. The Yinkarn bounced off a rhino once.
Lennon describes Vindicators as 4 shots blast, and it's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that was how he
yeah.
described back in the day. He described Manticores as heavy 2.
Yes,
2 blast.
heavy 2 with blast, yeah.
My Yinkar, I had multiple. I had like a multiple 0 damage grenades, a 0 damage tank shock. It was just like fucking throw the game out. Still won by 3 points, by the way. Didn't matter. Ynnari fucking stupid. And then I flat white nailed him. Then I 18-2'd him. And it was like, oh, okay, right. So that's what happens when it goes normal. Watching him try to interact with the Ynnari, the Yvrain brick, was just like actually a war crime. He charges it with a possessed. He charges it with a Bile brick. The Yinkarn goes anti-epic hero 2+. Remove 3 of them, and you're just like, oh, but it was great. I had a really good time.
But the Fissark, come on.
84 damage 3 anti-epic hero 2+.
Whatever.
It's fine.
That's a stat that exists. It's very strange.
Yeah. I am very hopeful that I can do something against Ynnari. I don't know if I can, but I want to believe, Like my army with no guns. If we don't trigger half their rules, is that enough?
Yeah, I did tell Bruce to cut his 4 obliterators after that game. So.
Stop taking fuck! God damn it, dude! Jesus Christ!
He's now playing Huntsman.
Anthony, Anthony, I really want you to tell me how to play this Bile list, but I want to take 3 squads of obliterators.
Dude, I have 8 behind me. I would love it if they were usable. But they're just shit. Just accept that they're bad.
Outside of veterans.
Outside of vets. Sorry. They are good in vets.
Yeah. All respect to Liam VSL.
Yeah. Praise be his name. Lisan Al Gaib. My mistake. But come on. Like, I think everyone just lives in this, like, combined delusion that someone's going to do the perfect amount of damage. They're going to line up like 7 Dark Reapers or whatever it is with no rerolls, like the exact number, and kill 1 Obliterator, but not 2, but 1's going to go down. And then they're going to get to res an 80-point model, and they're going to be like, fucking Value Town, baby. And then they're going to get run over and lose. But in that moment, they will be really excited about that res.
The whole plan will have come together in that moment.
It's still just worse than bringing back D3 Legionnaires somewhere
It's
else.
so much worse every time!
You could add 3.5 inches to your Chosen's charge, or you could have that shitty shooting profile.
One of that idiot, yeah.
Or you could do you could do 4 damage to a rhino at range.
If you could just, if you could play 4-mans, I'd be on board. But the fact that they only come in 2s, so you have to exactly only ever lose 1 man or the whole plan breaks, is like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What is the dream?
We all know they're there for when you roll double 6.
Dude, if you roll, it doesn't. You don't get it twice. It doesn't make them hit on fucking. Oh god.
I think exactly that's the only one that should stack. You just get plus 2.
Yeah, you get ballistic skill twice.
Yeah,
You go to
your
BS2
combi weapons
1.
get to hit on 2s. That's the only thing that changes.
I got ballistic skill that I like got stuck with ballistic skill the other day for like the first time, and I couldn't even tell you how long. And I was just like, this doesn't, like, for my army, because I've obviously just been like, if I get it, unlucky. It does, like, actually nothing. Like, in the overwhelming majority of units, like, actual 0.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you get to like kill 5 dudes in that squad over there instead of 3 dudes with your cousin on the way through.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Sick. They don't OC Legionnaires anymore. You're like,
A las cannon shot hits that wasn't supposed to, and you're like, oh
God. I was talking about that the game that went to shit. I lost the Yinkarn to a las cannon while in combat.
Yeah. That's orc
Guy was
ballistic
like,
skill
hit
las
and
cannon.
Failed 4 up, takes 7 damage. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I accidentally just dropped a war dog from across the table the other day, and it like fucked up my charge phase because I was like, sustained, it'll be funny, and then it just like it sustained and both went through and just killed it, and I was like, oh no!
That's how I lost to Derek at the event in fucking America.
Oh, I remember that.
I shot 3 Death Spitters. I squad of Grey Knights, killed them on my 5-turn, couldn't overrun. It's just like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Innes and getting scammed out of a high-level game by a value shot. Fucking name a more iconic duo, dude.
To be fair, at least that's not why I lost to Scary. So
that is true. It is why you lost to Will, but, you know, tomato, tomato.
that's one of the reasons I lost to Will.
Sure.
It was actually because whatever. Screening is hard.
Yeah.
All right,
Shall
let's
we
talk
move
stats.
on to the stats before we get 30 minutes into the show without discussing a
Come
relevant
on.
stat? Or
The funny anecdote part is now over. You guys can talk about numbers.
Okay, I mean,
Anthony and I are going
I'm gonna
go refill
the
my water bottle.
it's bookended by funny anecdotes. Let's be honest, Anthony. It's funny anecdote stats, funny anecdotes. All right, stats. Pulling up my Excel spreadsheet so that I can taunt all of you with data.
Yeah, while Nathan's pulling it up, I'm going to put a bit of clarification to what he's looking at right now. This is the new Prime meta, which is going to last for all of 2 weeks, which is just basically Eldari in full force and no guard, because there were no events, thankfully, that this time decided to break the don't use these points at events clause in the MFM. There were a couple that did that in previous weeks, but none did it this week. So so this is just going to be everything that's come up until this point, all Grotmus, and then the Eldari book.
Yep. All right. So the best performing faction of the week that had, well, there are not as many events this week, just to talk about it a little bit. So the player numbers for this are a little bit lower, so we're just going to talk about everybody because I don't care anymore. Gene Stealer Colts were the best performing faction of the week with 4 people. So 4 people, 1.3% of the meta. That kind of goes to tell you how, like, there wasn't a ton of people playing this weekend when 4 people are still 1.3% of the meta. 66.7% win rate, 1 top 4, 1 top 10 for a 2.81. That is, though, inflated by the relatively low meta representation. And now I never want to hear Custodes players complain ever again. There were 21 of you this weekend, 6.7% of the meta, a 63.2% win rate, 2 event wins, 5 top 4s, 10 top 10s, and a 2.68 over rep. Y'all are not allowed to complain ever again.
Those are big numbers, dude.
Those are really good numbers. And Jeremy stopped it from being even bigger numbers by winning his GT. So, and third, we have Chaos Demons, who had 9 people, 2.9% of the meta, a 61.3% win rate, 2 top 4s, 5 top 10s, and a 2.5 for overrep, so still above 2. Space Wolves coming back, 3 Wolves Howling at the Moon, but it was 4 this weekend. 4 players, 1.3% of the meta, a 60% win rate. They won an event, which was their top 4 and their top 10 for a 2.8 over rep. And then Orcs rounded out the top 5, 17 players, 5.4% of the meta, a 56.6% win rate. top 4 top 10s for a 0.66 overrep. At the bottom of the barrel, scraping real like in the muck, is Black Templars, who had 2 people playing this weekend. 0.6% of the meta, a 20% win rate. 20%. Not good times. We've fallen a long ways from the
That's so crazy. I would bet. Oh no, it wouldn't count towards those stats. Never mind. I would bet almost anything, and this would just sprint through a GT playing BT Ironstorm right now. Just like not even think about it. Just do, boom, and just ruin the whole thing.
He could.
I mean, like, you wouldn't get the +1 to wound though, because I'd be playing BTR and stuff.
Who cares? You'd have a bunch of multi-melt. It wouldn't even matter. What?
Yeah, it'd probably be fine.
Yeah, you could probably do it, but
You could.
Why
but
make your
would you
game
when
harder?
Gladius Ironstorm right, or like Ironstorm right there.
It's fine. It wouldn't count towards the stats anyway, right? Because theirs is like
No,
the
it would.
Righteous Crusader.
It
Oh,
would-
it
it
does.
would be
Theirs is
separate.
separate. Got it.
yeah, we break it down on basically what's your main army in the Space Marines. So if you're playing
Got it.
Gladius Dark Angels, you fall under Dark
What
Angels
button,
because
it's really what button did you hit on BCP, and then Jeremy will double check to make sure that you're not hiding Blood Angels and Space Marines, which I will do every time because I'm playing Adeptus Astartes. Whatever my subfaction is doesn't matter.
We're hiding Harlequins and Drukhari. Not that I have ever done that.
No,
no, definitely
I mean
not.
like you can hide Drukhari inside Eldar now by playing Inari. It doesn't even count.
Yeah, true.
Second from the bottom, having fallen all the way out of grace, is Sisters of Battle.
Good.
Sisters of Battle had 4 players, 1.3% of the meta, and a 35% win rate, no placings of any kind.
They
Good.
had less
that-
players this week than some weeks they won events.
Yeah. So that army has fallen basically out of the tree and hit every branch on the way
Yeah,
down.
I hope
based
they
on
get
their
nerfed
performance
again
lately.
next slate.
Oh, don't do that.
Bang.
That's so sad.
What's
Third from
what's
the
still
bottom.
good? I think pretty sure the only build that's doing well for them is like triple Immolate or triple Armiger Armiger Helverin. So I hope Helverins go up.
Nothing.
You get
Nothing is
nothing,
more
Sisters.
telling is that not a single team took Sisters to Pyra. Not a single one.
I think that Vol should be reroll ones.
Wow.
Make
We're
her
gonna-
80
No
points
hit
cheaper
rolls.
and make her reroll ones.
Yeah, actually, I'd probably be all right with that. Oh, the whole unit, maybe, not her. Wouldn't she be like 30 points then?
Sure. Drukhari are third from the bottom. 5 players, 1.6% of the meta, a 38% win rate, no placings. Fourth from the bottom is Imperial Agents, who had the same number of players as Black Templars at 2, and a 40% win rate. So double the win rate. Clearly, Imperial
Wow.
Agents twice as good as Black Templar.
That's actually true. Verifiable data. You
And
can
then-
take that one to the bank.
Rounding out the bottom 5 is Chaos Knights with 11 players, 3.5% of the meta, and a 41.1% win rate with no placings of any kind. Our other event winners that we didn't talk about are Death Guard, who had a 55.7% win rate for the weekend, Astra Militarum, who had 2 event wins, 3 top 4s, and 4 top 10s for a 2.4 overrep, despite having a 52% win rate. And then there's one more, which is Space Marines. I don't know who got that one. Don't know. But Space Marines perfectly balanced, 31 players, 9.8% of the meta, a 48.9% win rate, 1 event win, 3 top 4s, 4 top 10s for a 1.09 overrep. Perfectly balanced in all ways. That's kind of it for stats.
They
kind
definitely
of
don't need any adjustments, please. For the love of God, nerf that Ultramarines bullshit.
Probably. I'd
little
assume
bit.
that's maybe. Just a maybe. I don't know. Everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy. Everything's perfectly A-okay.
So
Just don't-
tired of explaining to people. No, that Vindicator wounds you on 2s. I'm sorry.
Yes, I do have 30 CP. No, don't ask why.
I am also
One of my
not sure what I'm
opponents
gonna do with
actually
it.
decided to walk through how many I had in that game, and he went like, "What
Yeah,
the?"
it's 30. It's up
Yeah.
to 30.
And people are going to ask what the breakdown is for stuff.
It's,
If we look at Eldar as kind of like the
If you
thing
go
to
first.
look at,
yes, 30 or 29, depending if you go first or second.
sure.
Just casually
mean-
3 times what the average player actually has.
Space Marines, generic, have a 63.3% win rate in Iron Storm. But Eldari is probably what people are going to ask about a little bit. There were only 18 Eldari players overall this weekend. They had an overall win rate of 50%. Most of that win rate is in Aspectos, which had 6 players and a 59.3% win rate. Seer
One a
Council
GT.
with 2. What was that?
Won a GT as well for Aspect Host.
Yeah, that's not in these stats because I'm still trying to figure out how to get a more smooth
Champions Hub
transition
data.
for Champions Hub or whatever the fuck the polls are using now.
Yep. Yeah, that was the only. They did win an event in Poland this weekend. And then Warhost had 5 players and a 60.9% win rate. And that's the bulk of the win rate for them. Seer Council did have 2 players who won 75%. Spirit Conclave and Ghosts of the Web each had a 28.6 and a 20% win rate. Devoted of Yniad had 1 player who lost all 5 of their games and had a 0% win rate.
How do you go 0-5 with Yunari is what I want to know.
I think that army is probably just, I don't know, somebody
I mean,
just wanted to.
Yeah, you just make mistakes over
I
and over
just
again.
make
Or you
mistakes.
could do a lot of really bad use of the rules in that detachment. Oh, I can run forward at you, and then runs forward at you and gets charged and dies, and just like
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
blood surge into your fight first unit and shit like that. Like you could very easily,
Yeah.
like Yunari gives you a lot of tools to fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if we go to Demons, it's still Legion of Excess with 4 players from this weekend at a 57.9. I mean, you have Scintillating that had a single player who won 80% of their games, and then Demonic Incursion with 2 players that had a 60% win rate, but that's just because they had 2 players and went 6 and 4. Otherwise, it's Bridgehead Strike Force with a 75.8% win rate, and half of the Astra Militarum player base, apparently. The other
Wait.
half are not playing Bridgehead.
I must have misheard you. There's no way I heard that correctly. How many
Se-
players at a what?
7 players out of 14 for this last weekend at a 75.8% win rate.
So
I did
this is the
not
best part
mishear
about it.
you.
Guard is showing a 55% win rate for this week because those that played Combined Regiment, the other 7 players, had a 37% win
37.
rate.
Yeah. Didn't quite get to that part. It is very funny, though. A double and half equaling out. I think they've started to coordinate to keep their win rate low. That's just what I'm
If
thinking.
that's
I
what they're
think-
doing. They're doing a great
And-
job.
Or it's
As
just the
a
Crayon
reminder,
Eaters still on Combined because they
this
want to play
is-
with all their tanks.
This is before we buff Bridgehead in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, this is before Bridgehead
Yeah.
hits the fucking moon when Scions suddenly get full wound rerolls.
Yep. Otherwise, it's not like a ton going on in the stats behind the scene. Solar Spearhead is what's most of the win rate for Adeptus Custodes at 65.8, but Shield Host still has a 60% win rate. Somebody played Auric Champions and won 30% of their games. There's nothing good going on for Sisters. 2 people played Hallowed Martyrs and have a 50% win rate. 2 played Penitent Hosts and have a 20% win rate. It's not doing great. And that's kind of it. We're waiting. I think we're kind
I
of
want
in
to
the
shout out
waiting
the
room
3
right now.
Angelic Inheritor players for Blood Angels that managed to go 11-4 for a 73.3% win rate. Again, we're
Nice.
talking small sample sizes, but I love seeing shit like that.
It's a good detachment.
Yep.
Like Jack Harpster put it in the top 3 of Elvio, and it's still nowhere.
Mhm.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, meanwhile,
Uh,
Liberator Assault has 15 of their 19 players and is at a
There are so many people playing
47.2% win
Bloodless
rate.
Angels in the UK right now. It's so funny.
Yeah, we blame you for that.
There's
I know.
there's one at Pyra, right?
Yeah, there is. It's Louis from
Mhm.
Nine Goblins.
Yeah. I'm hopeful we play.
How was the double Deso list that Francois played, Jeremy?
It was surprisingly good at picking up all of my scoring and all my little trash screening. But then
it's-
also we ran into the hard problem of
What happens when that's dead?
yeah, then they're shooting at 2-up save tanks that Eddie wounds on 5s, and it just kind of goes.
Was you not getting them advanced and shooting through Gladius rules to get the direct fire missiles?
He brought one of them out on one turn, and then they died horribly because they. So there was a very weird interaction where Gilliman ran into his Calgar, and then he decided to run everyone else in, like fall back and then run everyone else in so that he could make sure that he held an objective. And Gilliman died, fought on death, and stood back up. And when in his fight on death, he wiped everything that was in combat with him except for Calgar.
Whoops.
So it
Whoopsie
went from
doodles.
him holding the objective to him losing 3 assets, and then Gilman standing back up on the objective with me having it.
Skillful.
Amazing.
That was the only time that Gilman came back this weekend, so
I guess somebody will probably inevitably ask about Necrons. Awakened Dynasty and Star Shatter are still kind of leading the pack there at 64.3 and 60%. But also, this data set is small. So that's 12 players for Necrons at the moment. We're just in the waiting room. This meta is gonna switch over to the next numerical one very quickly.
the 9 orc players on tactical at 60% is definitely starting to show the
Having
strength
the
of that
best
army.
Yep. I mean, even Warhorde's still doing good at 56.5 and 5 players. Like, Tactical and Warhorde are both good.
Orcs just needed a wall change. They were a very good army.
Yeah.
They were very inconsistent because of the way the wall worked. It was also kind of shit gameplay wise. It's very good that they changed it. The army is now quite powerful.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Irvine is asking about his short kings, and I was looking at this weekend, and I got very, very confused that maybe someone selected the wrong detachment, so I had to go in and make sure that it actually what it was. You had one Hearthband player who went 3 and 2.
Yeah.
They got the highest win rate of the rest of the faction with 7
Yeah,
Oathband at 47.
They went 3 and 2 as compared to the other 7 Oathband players who went 16, 8 and 1. So, but yes. So apparently you can go 3 and 2 with Hearthband.
We
You
know.
can.
I'm so glad
and
you
then
played your
Gene Steal-
version because you then just played Space Marines instead.
And then Drew
How are
Kari
Nids
had
getting on?
Reaper's Wager.
Because
Not
Nids
well.
players. Sorry, I didn't go for it.
No, and Tyranids are not doing well, is what I was about to say. Tyranids overall, 21 players, 46.5% win rate. 12 of those 21 are playing Invasion Fleet with a 43% win rate. There's a couple people who played Vanguard Onslaught to a 35% win rate. And then there are 3 players who are playing Assimilation to a 60, and then 4 playing Crusher to a 50. So nothing really to speak of there.
Some Tyranid players got very, very, I don't want to say mad, but sad at me saying that I couldn't think of a compelling reason to play Tyranids right now compared to my other armies. And I stand by that. There is just there ain't no juice there, guys. It's just not fun.
Rainbow Carnifex
then-
Axe. I heard that from the ever reliable internet that the Tyrannid win rate is propped up by an overly large number of draws. Is this true? Well, in this particular one, they have 2 draws out of their 100 games, so probably not.
Maybe not on our data set, but maybe if you include RTT data or something like that, that changes. But
Maybe.
for our data set, that's not what's standing out.
Otherwise, the only other funny one is Space Wolves Stormlance at 70% win rate, and that's kind of it.
Is that because
Not
one
bad.
guy went 3-1-1?
Yeah,
More
that's kinda
killing
it.
data sheets in 4K a mistake, guys. Let's topic of conversation that can relate to the stats.
There we
Holy
go.
shit! Is every single one of them broken?
They
Like Aquilons,
They
Breaker Boys,
all-
Tankbusters.
they definitely release too good, and I'll have to get pulled back. And there seems to be a lack of communication, is the phrase I'm going to use, between the team that does the balancing for the rest of the stuff and the team that releases the rules that eventually show up in
I-
40K.
Don't think there's a distinction to be made there.
There seems to be.
I think it's more that things just get pushed out, and then when they go, "Oh shit, we fucked up again," it gets fixed.
But there's such a difference between.
Need
the
I
rules
remind you that
get
the person who
released.
writes the balance gave Ultramarines +1 to wound?
I don't even I don't think that's like honest to God. This is gonna sound very rude. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I'm not gonna lie. The shit with Oath on it is dead. Yeah, you got him, dude. The shit that is oathed is gone. Fucking crushed it, nailed it. I think far more impactful was the wider set of Space Marine changes. I think if you just strip +1 to wound off of Ultras, you don't do nearly enough to stop them from being the best
I
Marine
think it's
chapter.
Gulliman and Calgar. And
It's
other
the-
things
it's-
that are the problem. Yeah.
It's the Gilliman Calgar fucking fusion dance to give you 30 CP, while Gilliman just does 2 Primarch abilities a turn. It's fucked.
Which,
Like-
okay, fine. All of those changes were made by that same team.
But that is still less. It still like is on the same plane. It makes sense a lot more than whatever the fuck these kill team things are. The kill
Or-
team things just seem like completely random. It's
All
just
right,
like
then let's take the other example, because I do strongly believe that that's not what's going on here. Because look at what happened to Sisters.
Yeah, sisters got hammered, but they were too good, and then
They
they
weren't
got
though.
hit. I mean, they were. We're
They
gonna say
were for a
sisters
few
were
weeks.
too good.
Patches were written.
Come on.
In the weeks leading up to the slate, they averaged a 51% win rate and were not dominating events.
But
I
that's not
think
when the slate gets written, right?
That's the problem, though, is that they are making they overcorrected there. They took them out back and they did
If you
4
can't be
different changes to
balanced,
the
you
army.
have to be bad.
yeah, I think like that's like
I don't disagree with that, but also it's not like they're batting 100 here. They're batting 500 like the rest of the studio is.
oh, I don't think that's true at all. But the like I would again, to Innes's point, it's much better for the game in general for that something that is overperforming get bodied than it is that something that's overperforming get
Necron.
yeah. Like and like again, even there, like Necrons have pretty consistently been strong, but not like completely insane. Some of that admittedly is like, the bias of the things that I play. But if you go by like the stats, the things that I play haven't been that good in Necrons the whole time anyway, so whatever. Like in general, I think that there seems to be some kind of disconnect between whoever the fuck is writing these kill team data sheets and then just being like Shazam and whatever is happening after the fact, right? And pretty inevitably things have to get like reined in. Now, there are some exceptions to this. Not all the kill teams are crazy. I'm pretty sure CSM's like Beastman whatever the fuck unit was a kill team.
Nemesis Claw, though.
Not very good. Nemesis Claw aren't that crazy, right? Nemesis Claw are a one-of tech piece that you take if you're worried about a specific thing. Otherwise, they're a 22 point per model tactical marine. That takes 3 minutes of your clock to activate, at least. That unit, I considered taking a Meltagun on that unit to have one less melee weapon to take slightly less time to activate. Yeah, I think that you could do a lot with this, and I think it's cool that things are getting like sustained releases through an edition, so you don't just get like your codex and then that's it, and like fucking good luck until next
That I
edition.
like a lot. But
Yeah, that's
and this is the thing, like you had Vespids. Those came out and they're fine.
Yeah.
If anything, they actually fixed Vespids because when they were in the index and then the codex, they had the worst uppy downy roll you could possibly ask for.
Yeah,
And I mean, some of them are just unit revamps, like Striking Scorpion resculpt.
Mm-hmm.
There's
How-
also
how much of
like Mandrake resculpt.
Yeah. How much of like Vespid being fine is that Tau is just not very good though?
I don't think the datasheet update was that mind-blowing.
Yeah, but that's also just like a datasheet update, right? We're not injecting new units into a game. Like they have a base to work with there, right? As opposed to just being like, here's this new thing and it's just damage 3 because that seems like a cool number,
Or like the League of Votan unit that has infiltrate. That's pretty solid.
Right. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that one definitely came out underpriced. There was no question about that.
Yeah,
but at the same
thing.
time, they didn't need any like rule changes to bring them in line.
I think there's an
Right.
argument that factions that are as scout heavy as Votan should never have an infiltrating unit. Because that is one of the few gates to keeping them from being like an awful experience to play against, right? Similarly, I don't think World Eaters should really ever get an infiltrating unit.
I don't think they should have Scout and Advance in charge.
Having Scout and Advance in charge, like, it is what it is, right? They just already have those rules. So if you're gonna do that, don't also give them infiltrate is the point that I'm making. You hear what I'm saying? Like the benefit of being that fast is that you get to hit your target, right? The downside is that it has some counterplay and infiltrate. And if I get to eat infiltrators if I go first, cool. And if not, maybe I punch you in your deployment zone. But when you take that dynamic away and draw it back to being just the infiltrator role, you introduce like a kind of shit mechanic, right? It's a similar thing with striking scorpions, right? Where it's like, why do they infiltrate and scout and stab you to death? You're just not allowed to have trash in your deployment zone, question mark, against Eldar? What is this?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Where am I allowed to be?
They did add scout to Striking Scorpions.
Yeah,
after
that was a
Kill Team
codex
was out.
change. That wasn't a
That
kill
was a
team
codex
revamp.
thing, not the
that.
kill team revamp. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like there are certain like things that should not, it's okay for some things to be like, again, since we started, I was the like just let it get crazy guy, and 10th has like disabused me wholly of that notion.
I'm
I was
amazed
wrong.
that 9th didn't.
I was wrong. My bad. 10th is much worse for it. The like in general, you couldn't kill 7 guys with 1 bullet in 9th. I don't care how strong your units were. Dev wounds didn't work like that. I've given up. Never mind. I was wrong. The in 9th, in whatever, neither here nor there. In 10th, I think in general, it's okay for things to be strong, but at the same token, if things are gonna be really powerful, as they give an example of like world eaters with scout and advance and charge, they should also have some form of counterplay via infiltrate. Part of the reason that Ynnari feels so bad is that all its shit is just binary. It doesn't really matter what you do. If you have an army that brought guns and that's part of your game plan on how to kill stuff, get fucked. I'm gonna get to do a whole bunch of shit. Fuck you. And that is a bad set of rules.
It's honestly not even that much better if you're just a melee army. They still have a ton of bullshit. And
I
most
mean-
melee armies aren't just melee as well, which is, again, more fuckery, right?
Yeah. Do you need
It is
any
not a
amount
good
of it's part of it is like it enables the thing that people always say they're gonna do, right? Like I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna move block and then I'm gonna use my tape measure and none of Anthony's stuff is ever gonna touch me, right? I'm like, oh, crazy. You appear to have your entire army in combat and melee on turn 2. What happened, boss? Except Ynnari can actually do that, because if they screen you and you use your trash shooting or you go charge around them or you do any of that stuff, they fuck off. It's entirely different.
It turns
And-
out moving in your opponent's turn 4 times is maybe too much.
Yeah, it's just a mistake, right? That just shouldn't be a thing. We made a mistake. There's too much of your turn in my turn. Let my turn be my turn.
You fell back from me, you shot me, you killed something, I heroic, and I teleported in your turn. Sorry,
Whoops.
buddy. Did you want that turn? Our turn.
Our turn, yeah, comrade.
There are no. You don't get any turns that aren't also my turn. yes.
Ynnari is the army of the proletariat. That's what we're taking. It's our turn, not your
Yeah.
turn.
That's right.
You hear the communist just music every time you play that army.
Yeah. Here I
I'm gonna
was.
was.
replace
Turn.
the Yunkarn's weapons with a hammer and sickle. Let's do it.
That would actually be
Oh,
great.
there
if
you
had
go.
them.
That would be awesome. Please do that.
I'll get a second one.
Yeah, get a second Ying card. Do that.
Yeah.
This is a return to old
Please.
Soulburst Ynnari, right?
Ynnari is just playing alternating activation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ynnari is just playing alternating activations.
Look, I don't want to see 40k ever go to alternating activations. Please
No,
stop
after playing
trying to.
it with Ynnari at least once,
Yeah.
I'm already sick of it. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it so much this weekend.
Yeah, they've made some mistakes with this book. Specifically this detachment, I should be clear. Like, I think the other ones are like annoying in like, whatever, but it's like normal Eldar annoyances, right? Like you're like, yeah, whatever, skill expression all over me, do your thing. You're so talented. You used your 14-inch moving unit to contain. Good job, dude. They still taking applications at Harvard. But like, I don't know what you're supposed to do about something like Ynnari without treating them like sisters and just being like, sorry, pop, 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 pop to all of their abilities. Because I don't think that should be what happens, but I don't really know what else you're supposed to do right now. Like, you just turn all their moves into D6 moves and be like, I don't know, sorry.
No. You make them D3+1.
Okay.
I think you just have to take the Yunkarnite back
Ooh.
and shoot it.
Ooh.
Also,
Yeah.
they don't get any agile maneuver tokens.
And they definitely shouldn't continue to get. They definitely shouldn't get wave serpents, guys. I
They
don't
also
know.
They don't get.
where
They
that's
get the
coming from.
transports that they're allowed to take, which are venoms.
I
And Raiders,
think if they've left the aspects behind, they also shouldn't get aspect tokens. That's their whole thing in the lore. They
Now,
don't wear
on
the
the-
masks.
Like a really tiny side thing here, and I get that this is right. There's an aspect token in the Incubi kit. Why don't Incubi get aspect tokens in this book?
Dude, what is that about? Unreal.
Look,
That's
I
waiting
get
for the
that unless
Drukhari
I-
Codex to come out.
I don't know.
We don't talk about Drukhari.
Why do they not have? They're in the box, guys. You gave them rules in every other aspect where kit. Why do Incubi not have these?
To be fair, if Incubi had an aspect token, it would definitely just make the dice a 1. So maybe just leave it alone. Just don't.
Look, all I'm saying is I want to flip 2 6s on the Vizak every time I activate that unit. The first time. I activate
That's really what it
that
is.
that should be okay, and I should be allowed to do this.
I am going to be very amused when they like give aspect tokens to them in the Drukhari Codex and having
they just don't
yeeted
have
Karandras into Legends. Also, Karandras has a blurb in in
Yeah, he still has a
like,
page.
He
Does
has
he
a
really?
page.
Yeah,
He
still
has a
exists
page
in the
the
lore.
Codex.
Does
They
Irilith?
like Irilith was never in the Codex. He was always in the
That's-
Index Imperial whatever.
dude, that's
from
funny.
Previous Imperial Armor. But yeah,
Irilith
they put
is-
his
The Shadow
Irilith?
Spectre like icon is still on the Avatar kit, so they do still exist. But
I mean, there used to be a ton of aspects that were never models. Like there were like the hoop singers or whatever in previous books where they were like, yeah, the guys who spin little wheels and things. I mean, bone singers are still in the book and had a kit at one point. And no
Uriel went
longer
to get
have it.
smokes. That's his lore. He went to get. He literally
That's-
just like went. To
Yeah,
get
he did.
smokes.
Uriel did go to get smokes. Uriel has a whole page in there with the Corsairs, and his art is still in the book.
That's rough, dude.
I mean, maybe they'll
It is-
get models as part of like a
A kill team
They're gonna be a
release.
kill team box.
Boom!
Of
Boom!
Karandras-
Uriel
of
buddy cop
Karandras and
movie.
Uriel.
Boom! That's how you
with
do
the,
it.
Acceptable.
it'll be with the Eldar
Um,
2.0 codex for when 10th edition gets extended.
No, there'll be
hope so. That'd be cool.
there'll be a
They
combi
can't
kit
extend
like
10th
the
edition because that would make Anthony happy, and we know that.
yeah, God forbid, dude.
I'm glad that Kelly is here to remind me the actual name of a unit from that
Slicing
Eldar
orbs.
book. The slicing orbs
Slicing
aspect.
orbs of Sandross.
You remember the planet?
He
Holy
did,
dude!
apparently. Oh man. Oh
That's
no.
just like deep triggered something like that's like my
Yeah,
secret.
That's the
Damascus,
old lore.
Damascus steel is powerful, son. All right.
It retains everything in its layers.
The look, that's gonna be what happens. They're gonna come out in a kill team box, like that one Sisters Harlequin character, and that's
Are
it.
you talking? Oh, in a combined box? They're
Yeah,
be a
they're gonna come out.
buddy
They're gonna be.
box
They're
from
gonna be a
Black
same
Library
unit.
book.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
Karandras on one base, Uriel on
Yeah.
the other base.
Yeah,
Brandis
just-
gives his unit dev wounds crit 5s.
Oh my god.
probably. Whatever. Who at some point.
Uriel gives them a scout move of 9 inches, actually, so they get scout 9, and then Karandras gives them dev wounds on a 5-up.
I'm gonna be honest. This weekend, if I have to play against any of the Eldar pilots, and I hope some of you are watching, if you play against me, you just make shit up, and I'd be like, "Fuck, fair enough, dude. That sounds good." Like I've fully lost the plot when it comes to playing at, against, or around what Eldar can do. I'm just like, possessed. Maybe? No? Oh, they're all dead to one character? Nuts. Anyway, again. I get a 5. Okay, cool. High five. Good job.
Watching 18 8-bound die in my turn 1 shooting phase, having gone second and been rushed by them, and having them had already killed 4 units, was just like, oh, so this is just how this army is. Okay.
Dude, you were there. I mean,
Dark
even in the-
Reapers just do that to people. Like, why not? Just
Dude,
Dark Reapers casually.
in the index, when we were at Eurotrash, you remember when I played against Hugo and I was killing 4 units a turn with Karn Squad, and I still just got a 10 because I was like, all right, whatever. I guess Flake kills half my army.
I've been tabled, but I stood on the primary just about long enough.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
it's the
the
Drazar
fuck?
experience all over again.
Yeah. No, it's
This
fucking Flake does it in 2 phases. It's so much worse.
I do love that Fuegan. People are just not taking that Fuegan datasheet, even though that Fuegan datasheet is so good. 6543, folks. 6 attacks, strength 5, AP 43 damage.
Shut the
Come
fuck
on.
up, Nathan. He's bad, everyone. You don't want him. He's awful. You just need more other swooping hawks. You want the swooping hawks.
Yeah, you want
and the-
30 swooping hawks.
And the unled warp spider units. You need that and anything else that has a strength lower than 6 and does a damage that isn't 3.
So you're saying is you don't want to see a whole bunch of autarch way leapers leading warp spiders.
Yeah, no, you should take tons of those. Just take 1 million of those.
Fuegan in a unit of fire dragons that runs the axe and the melta pistol because it goes to range 12.
Shut
is very fun.
up! Shut Your mouth
two
right
models in
now.
that unit that murder things in melee combat. I love that the fire axe is actually a good weapon,
Dude, it's-
but people won't take it.
I mean, you
Strength
don't because
6.
you don't have Fuegan, but once you've got Fuegan, man, it's like
Dude,
I
it's
don't know,
just
man. That unit do be doing 3 attacks, 6/4 d6.
it.
Do
Dude,
you
it's
get reroll hits and wounds in melee, or is
No,
it
it's
yes.
It's only
no,
shooting.
not against big things, but like you get
You get the
aspect
aspect
host
host.
ones. Yeah,
True.
Yeah, you still get those.
What about the 10-man fire dragon unit? Why don't we just go crazy?
Don't do that.
yeah. I think you're losing the plot a bit there, but
Damn.
I genuinely the other day. All right, so I was spectating a game. Right, we're in the bullshit about nonsense part of the show. I was spectating a game, and someone was like about to start Fuegan off the board against a list that was going to rush them because they were like, "Oh, I'll use them later to kill like this one vehicle," and I was like, "Dude, the bad guys come in and Fuegan just like blaps 5 of them in the face in the shooting phase and then charges and kills the rest." And he was like, "But Anthony, they're elite infantry. My anti-vehicle character can't possibly be that good against that much elite infantry." And I was like, "Have you read the data sheet recently, sir?"
Go take a look at how much flat 3 damage you have on that character and then come back to me.
All of it. All of the flat 3 damage is just in that character.
Dude,
Why did the beam mode get Melta?
God
Because
forbid.
it needed the extra range, Curie.
Did it needed the 6 inches of extra?
Dude, it's just Melta 1. What's the worst that could happen?
It beat flat 2 damage.
Yeah, so the thing about that gun, right, is that it's 3 shots. So like normally it doesn't get that crazy, but every once in a while you watch an activation happen where they just like natty roll 2 6s and you're like, "Oh, mother of God." They like flip the 3rd one and you're like, "How many hits is that?" And he's like, 9. And you're like, it was 3 shots. What do you mean it's 9 hits? What the fuck? Everybody dead.
Everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Anyway.
Fuegan can't hurt you.
Look, the most important thing to take from this is that unit sucks. It doesn't let you play the mission or express your skill. Dude, you're going to trade down when you use that unit. You're going to go in there and your 200-point unit's going to kill like a rhino, bro. It's not worth it.
Just sent me
ever.
the edited copy of the Unicorn with the hammer and sickle. You need to change it slightly. The hammer and sickle need to be split into the 2 hands. I don't want like just the hammer and sickle logo superimposed over the sword. You can do better.
What about
like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So you're saying we shouldn't take any Fuegan or any Jane Czar or anything like that, I guess.
You
Not
definitely
really.
don't have to take
Or no
Fuegan,
like
but
his
he is
leading
quite
warp
good.
spiders.
Well, all that shit is above my pay grade. I don't play Eldar. You do
You
what
can't
you
play any of
want.
that shit in Yunari.
Yeah. And Yunari is probably the best, particularly if you don't want your opponent to have a good time while you're playing.
It's
But
very important. It's very important to me that you don't have fun.
yeah.
You should.
But-
The Wraith Lord's bad.
But if you
Terrible.
want me to be
Terrible,
sad,
awful unit.
if you know that you're going to play me and you want me to be upset, Fuegan. That shit
I mean,
works.
that's actually just my entire purpose. I'm going to bring a snack box so you can get mad with the snack
Anthony's
box.
personal
next time
circle
we
of
play
hell
each
is
other.
Fuegan and 30 Dark Reapers. Just on like a GW, on like GW layout 3 on like GW layout 6 playing Hammer and Anvil.
So, like, the thing with that is that, like, I would just be like, "Oh, ha," and deploy on the line and be like, "Let's see, elf boy." And that's how it would go. Because I have no attachment to winning shit like that. I'm not going to try and win. I'm going to make us both upset.
The truest excitement, though, for this move to Boston is that I'm within train distance now of Anthony, so I can just train down to Anthony to play.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually moving north, so I'll be I'm moving like an hour and a
Oh.
half northeast. So yeah,
Amazing. I'm gonna play practice
When are you
games with
moving?
Anthony just with Fuegan.
I'm moving in. Stop that. I'm moving in. What?
What's Nathan moving?
Oh, March 18th is when I start
You'll be
my new
real
job.
close for BFS.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So one of the challenges is that I won't have any time off accrued.
No,
Like,
BFS
at
is in
all.
May.
Oh, I will have 2 days of time off accrued.
That's all you need.
You don't even need any time off.
Yeah, just
Because
come
that's
out
not
A
on
day to come
Friday.
down.
You come down on Friday. No, he's gonna be 3 hours from us.
Yeah, I'll just make a train ride. Actually, it's like easy peasy. Like I can get. Where's BFS exactly?
It's the Palisades Mall. It's like fucking It's literally 3 hours west of Boston.
What city?
Palisades Mall, New York. Just type
That's
that
the
in.
name of the city.
Trust me, it'll come up.
I was just like, Anthony, you need to be more specific.
You
I've
don't.
never lived east
It's-
of the
oh,
Mississippi.
Ed Miller's in
east of
chat.
Chicago. Oh.
Ed, yes, I am moving north. I'm going to be in New Windsor. It's in Nyack, New York, is where the tournament is.
Okay, cool. All right. I mean, that doesn't help me actually any better. I should have just taken
fucking-
Palisades Mall.
God damn it!
Palisades Center, Anthony. Get your shit right.
I'm just here to make Anthony mad because the only models I'm bringing with me to Boston are Phoenix Lords. So
He's gonna play 10 Fuegans.
He's playing
Sure,
the run of
I will.
Tundra, just the
If you
entire-
let me
just the
play
army.
2,000 points of Fuegans, I will bring 2,000 points of Fuegans with me.
No, Chris.
Yeah.
Apparently, Chris
Do you
Irvine
think
just
we
lost a
ran,
character
like-
in Hardcore War. Wow.
Do you think if we did a vibe check RTT where we allowed epic heroes to not be one per army?
No.
Yes.
I'm bringing 3 Canises.
No. I want to see somebody roll. I want to see someone roll 666 and bring back 4 Angrons.
Can I just bring
Surely you would cap it at
2,000
3.
points? No, I'm going to bring
Fuck this,
2,000
no.
points of assassins. Just 2,000
like,
points of
No
assassins.
rule of 3. No rule of 3. No epic heroes.
Wait,
rotation.
Stop. I'm on to you. Innis just wants to play with all its Hive Tyrants. Fuck you.
I was going to say, can I bring 2,000 points of
Enough.
You can't,
Colossus
you can't
assassins?
make me play all my hive targets. I barely play
2,000
one.
points of Colossus assassins.
And Illuminor Saras in Awakened Dynasty.
Oh,
2,000
yeah.
points of Illuminor Scissor.
You're gonna track which ones have died and stood back up.
If you let me play 4 Angrons, I'd play against that.
Fine. 4 Magnuses as well is what we're
Oh,
doing.
no. Never mind. I'm out. Fuck this.
Like one, 3 with -1 damage sat behind the 1, giving them all +2 movement.
Dude, it's like, isn't that 16 Cabal? That's like a bunch of Cabal, too. It's not even like a little.
It's a lot. It's
yeah.
too much Cabal
16, yeah.
points. It's too many.
All
Yeah.
right.
How
Enough.
many Magnuses
Three
actually do you
Armans?
fit at 2,000 points?
Surely
Magnus
it's
is
just.
470 now.
Surely it's.
4
Oh my god.
Magnuses.
Enough. You could fit a trash unit at the end of this after 4?
An Aramon, yeah. You could
Yeah,
fit an
he's
Aramon.
465. So you would have 105 points
140?
left at the end, which is oh no, it used to
Two
be 1 unit of
cultists.
rubrics.
2 cultists.
You'd have
How much is
104. You could bring
Armand?
2 units of Zangor and get 18 Cabal points if you hit 2 4-ups.
2 cultists don't fit because T-Sun's cultists are 55.
No, because
How
you'd
much
have
are Munolith
140, right?
Vortex beasts?
Too
Milos
much.
are like
160?
160 now.
Aw,
So
too
you wouldn't
much.
fit. Yeah, you'd have 20.
Damn.
You'd have to be 20 points short.
Four Magnuses and Aramon is what Glarg says, so that's what I'm doing. 4 Magnuses and Aramon.
6 Nightbringers.
Fuck.
I mean, you would lose to the Magnuses.
Actually,
Yeah, 100%.
actually no.
You get
4
4
Magnuses and Armin is exactly 2,000 points on the nose. So
Amazing.
I don't even.
There we go.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's got to be worse than 4 Magnuses and 3 cultists. Or 2 cultists, right?
Almost definitely.
probably,
sure.
but that's not nearly as fun.
20
Well, actually, with
Farsight.
20 Farsights,
Plus,
you'd have as many CP as a normal Space Marine.
I genuinely can't think of anything that's going to beat 4 Magnuses. I'm like sat here trying, and I'm like,
4 Canises could do a pretty good job at parts of it. It depends.
no.
What kind of are we do?
Like WTC.
Okay, so here's the thing.
What kind
if
of
only one
terrain?
Magnus can reroll hits and wounds, it
I-
does actually get kind of rough.
I don't
I,
think that
I don't
matters.
care. Yeah.
You just put 3 in and you just launch 1 out a turn to kill half your opponent's army or something.
I mean,
right?
you would just tunnel 2 Canuses a turn. You would just
You
be
could run
like,
16
bye,
Optimans.
see
You
ya.
could dev wound them all to death.
2,000 points of Lancers.
Does all of this lose to 2,000 points of Fuegans? That's fucking 20 Fuegans.
2,000 points of Fueg because they come back. They get
That's
right
what I'm
back up.
saying. That's 40 Fuegans.
You're
No, it's
fighting
not that
40.
many because remember he's 120, not 100.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's
So it's like
16 Fuegans.
So you
16
get a trash
wagons,
unit.
I think.
It's like 16 or
You
17.
get a trash
yeah.
unit then as well. A
you
wave
get a unit
serpent
of
to
fire
put them all in. You get to wave serpent to put all of them.
They-
Oh,
these,
no.
these do all lose to 6 Scarbrands, though.
True.
Scarbrand just like
How,
makes the
how many
charge, removes a
Shalaxes
Magnus
is
each.
that at
4
2,000 points?
Four
Like
Shalaxes, yeah.
Yeah, it's only
4
4 because she's still like
4
450 or
Shalaxes.
something wild.
420, I think.
All right. Do we want to talk about Pyra?
Not at all. Let's
No,
just
not
do
really.
this.
Apparently,
Okay.
I mean, we got our
Look,
matchups, which is cool.
We don't want to steal any of the Matrix's thunder, right?
That is
Fair.
yeah.
true.
Honestly, if you
we
want
did that
Pyre
already.
content, they're doing a show tomorrow. So
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep talking
There's some
about
really cool lists.
violating the
I'll
rule of
throw the
three.
link to the Vaisal document on screen now, so people can have a look at it if they want to, and then we'll move on with our lives.
No, we're just gonna keep talking about rule of three violations.
60,000 Sisters of Sands probably does beat that Magnus list. That's true.
True.
How many
Nailed it.
Aleas? How many Aleas can you fit?
well, you don't even need a Leia. You want the sword ladies.
Oh man,
Yeah,
20.
that's true.
Just 2,000 points of those
solitaires.
running at
Fuck.
Magnus saying we do dev wounds and you have no protection against us. And we have 3 up feel no pain against everything you do.
16 Fuegans.
16 Fuegans. Amazing. Let's do it. That's 32 Fuegans, really.
I was just gonna say, I don't know.
When you've got that many, you're gonna start failing. Some
Yeah, that's more like 28. 20
Oh,
Vindicator
I do
Assassins.
My
like
mistake.
20 Vindicare Assassins.
20 collections.
Okay. At the very least, those 20 Vindicare Assassins, across all of them, maybe like 4 of them will actually get their good shot through on Magnus. So
Oh my god.
20
dude.
collections Assassins. That's where I'm stopping. I'm happy with that.
20 Calexis, yeah.
You do 5
20
you do like
Calexis.
10 Calexis, 10 Vindicare, or like 10, 9, and 1 Calidus. and
You
then
could
you're good.
do quite a few Fabius Biles. I'm just saying.
But
And
why?
you would have the Gimp and the Blank. You might get through the Fuegans that way, dude.
No, you really would.
Wait,
You also res. You pimp can them down.
yeah,
Come
here's
on,
the
bro.
problem. Fabies don't hear no bell.
That's fine.
Nah, Fabius loses
So
to
a
Lucius.
single
Lucius loses
Fuegan
to
melee
Lucius
activation
first.
kills Bile twice.
No, it's not that
16 Grey Knight
bad.
Librarians is
Remember-
pretty funny, actually. 16 Grey Knight Librarians.
Oh,
that's so many mortal
500
wounds.
That probably loses. That probably loses to
Gretchen.
Ryan, go away.
Fuegan, to be fair.
We don't need the bucket of
Oh.
grots to ever come
wait,
back.
how many Zodgrod led max Gretchen squads could you get in 2,000 points if there was no?
All right, how much is
rules?
Zodgrod? Like
Scout,
60 now?
Scout 9ing directly for.
That's what I'm saying. You just call the wad, just fucking send it with all of them.
8
All right, he's
Ian cards 'cause they're
80.
250 now?
Gretchens are 80, so it's
Children at all of them
160 for
teleport.
each one of those, so you can fit
10 plus.
another
That's like-
2, so 12.
That's That's a lot of minus
That-
1 to wound grots. Just
That's like 250 Gretchen that are just running at you. Go wee.
How do these fare
Aren't
to
tel-
16? How do
that's
these fare
like
to 16
6
Gladiator
Telmons.
Reapers?
16 Gladiator Reapers. Oh no!
oh,
I don't care that you're minus 1 to wound.
No list tailoring in this.
you play
I'm
it
not
in
sure that loses the much.
you play it in
15
the
in Calcutta.
no, surely you would just do it in the Templar detach, like with Templar ones. So you get the multi-multa as a little insurance in case someone else takes vehicles.
No, because then that makes you lose an entire Gladiator.
Yeah, but I can have a 6 up field of pain on them all because I'll play them in
Oh,
Register
yeah.
Crusaders.
surely
To
that
help
buys you
with
back.
the-
in-
to help
Well, no,
with
no.
the
If we're
four-
breaking the rule of 3, we're
the
not battle
four
forged
Magnus.
anymore.
Oh,
Now we are.
God.
All right, guys. We're going
Move
to leave
on.
it there. What I would like you to do, leave a comment with your favorite idea for what you think would be incredible in this Thunderdome format. And we will have a look at some, and I'll maybe shout out a couple of the best ones next time.
Sounds good. All right.
All
Can we do
right.
plugs.
I probably should, and I think I have a thing written up here somewhere that has like the plugs and all that, but I don't think I have it to hand. So, thank you so much, everybody, for being with us for this part of episode 126. We're about to move on to show questions, but before that, I do have a bit of housekeeping to do. So, if you're enjoying the show, please do remember to leave a like, a comment, and a subscription, and all the various other algorithmic things that help us continue to get delivered to your eyeballs and ear holes. We are glad that you're enjoying the show, and showing your appreciation for that is the best way to make sure that we continue to be able to do this. If you're in a position to do so and you would like to support us a little bit more, you can also check out patreon.com/statcheck, or you can hit the YouTube membership button just below. And for $5 a month, you can support us and get access to our Discord Patreon, where you'll be able to sign up for the new Vibe Check League teams that's launching in a couple of weeks. We'll be doing a team of StatCheck hosts. We've got ourselves, myself, Jeremy, Nathan. We have Dan Garnacia. I think. I'm sorry, Dan. I don't think I pronounced your surname 100% correctly. And Tyler Bortel will be playing League there, and there's a bunch of other teams signed up. So that's 5-man teams. If you would like to sign up for that, become a member of the Patreon for the duration of the event, and you'll be able to do that with prizing wonderfully support provided by the Red Dragon. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I nailed that bit. Well done, me.
You did good.
Yeah, you could also check out all the other shows on our network. That's youtube.com/statcheck. You can find Take All Comers, in the Matrix, and Champions of 40k on the show, as well as all the back episodes of X&1. If you would like to listen to any of those, you can also find us live at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday, exactly the place you are now. We'll be live for the live shows, and if you leave a comment there, we'll do our best to respond to you. Or if you're in the live shows, we'll obviously fire messages at us here. You can check out all of our sponsors. That's G15 Games, Saltar Games, Red Dragon, and Whalen Yutani in the description below for your various hobby and gaming needs. Special shout out to Red Dragon for being our wonderful primary sponsor. That's red-dragon.ca. You can find the link below. And if you're a Patreon member, you'll also be able to get access to our discount code through the Patreon. Red Dragon is also the provider for all of our merch. And at some point, Anthony, when do we need to chase Kenny up again to get his stuff sorted? Because merch should be happening soon.
We're waiting on prototypes still.
Sweet. It's always good to double check.
Yep.
Lastly, if you want to get help from any of our wonderful statue coaches, that's myself, Nassim Fushane, Liam VSL, Tyler Bertel, Nicholas Olsen Johnson, Lucas Troller, or Pumbaa. Doesn't have a surname. He's like Cher. You can check out stat-check.com.
Not one we couldn't pronounce
coaching, or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com. Jeremy, when are the new buttons on the site going to be live?
Hopefully in the next couple days.
Sick. We'll have new buttons on the site soon where you'll be able to send direct messages to our coaches as well if you want to get in touch with someone specifically. I think that's all I have for plugs, which does mean I have the one last thing. If you want to get your message and your question read out on the show, you can do it in one of three ways. One is to be a member of the Patreon Discord or the YouTube membership Discord, because they're the same thing. The second is to leave a super chat on the YouTube live show. And the third is to just ask a really good question in the chat that we decide we want to answer. But I can't promise that we'll do that because they're not always that good. With that, Nathan, Jeremy, whichever one of you is reading questions this week, would you like to kick it off?
I'll do it. There are two super chats. Thank you to Daniel Paulini for Because Violence in Jeremy is definitely worth watching. And then thank you to Ear, who I always think about going Ear every time I say that name. OMG, I miss Cutie Fuss, Slathan, and Pumbaa. Happy to see you guys though too. Thank you for letting us be your second choice, Ear.
I think it's Q-typhus, not D-typhus, but
sorry, my apologies. This is why we're the B team. This is why we're the second favorite, not the first favorite. Fair. All right. Now to show questions from the Discord is from Typhus. Favorite list from Pyra.
Definitely Tyler's.
Wow.
Surprising absolutely no one. The man that submitted AdMech, I love his list.
I'm personally a very big fan of the Oops 30 jet bikes because as a 7th edition player, it triggered an intense PTSD in me oh my god, getting shot by scatter laser bikes is not a thing I'm happy to do again. They used to be like, they're very different now. They used to be like troops that you could bring any number of and they fire and faded every time they shot, but which is not where we're at now. So yeah, don't worry about it, Anthony. 7th edition was bad.
That's what they do now.
No, that's not what they do now.
Every unit.
But no, whatever. Fucking, it's fine.
Anthony, it was when they shot, not when you shot them. They just all jumped away after.
But they can, whatever. It's fine. A lot of that is true in that detachment. Still, is all I'm saying. No, because like one of them kills something. And, fucking, never mind. It's fine. Move on.
I will say I do like Team USA's Eldar list quite a bit because it's the same basically as the one that I have in my 40k app, and it makes me feel better about myself.
That's a good reason.
That's all. That's why I like it the most.
The Green Tide list is so gangster, just so unabashedly exactly what it is. It's 30 commandos and then 120 dudes.
Fuck yeah.
Gangster as fuck. Just, if I go first on infiltrate, you're not fucking leaving. You're staying right the fuck there.
Oh, that's a question actually. Pirates not using the new guard codex, or are they?
We absolutely are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All new rules. Anything we have access to.
Awesome. I will be interested to hear back on how the double door works in Bridgehead as well. That'll be kind of cool.
So far, so good. We'll see.
All right. Next question is from Josiah Gattle. How do you determine what is a bad matchup for an army or list versus practice or skill issues in practice games?
I have many answers to this question. Does someone want to give us a shorter answer while I prepare to answer that?
Does it feel like if things had gone even slightly different, like when you look at the game, does it feel like there was some shit that went weird in that, or did it feel like fairly average across the board? If there's some shit that went weird, and you're like, all right, I failed a bunch of charges and it was still fairly close, or I rolled like shit this game and it was still fairly close, and you're like, you feel like you won, or it felt like a really good matchup, like take a step back and think, if this had gone average, how would I have felt? Right? It's the same thing we were talking about a couple weeks ago with the aspect thing. Everybody's out there saying that they feel like they got a good matchup into Eldar, and then Anthony asked the question like, okay, but what if they didn't lose 4 aspect squads turn 1? And they're like, oh, I'd have got tabled. And it's like, well, then it's probably
Not
practice
good.
thing, and you need to rep
Yeah.
it again, or like it might be okay. You just need to keep trying it. Can you force those aspects to die? If yes, great, then it might be a good matchup. If you can't, then it's probably not. Right? Like, what is
Yeah.
the consistency?
You could
look
say
like?
a similar thing with regards to what we talked about last week with agency, where if you don't feel like you have any agency in that matchup, it's probably a bad matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have no agency and it's a good matchup. Your opponent just doesn't have a choice. You just stand there and you're like, you can't do anything. I can't do anything to like do more. But it's a winning
I'm more
matchup.
referring to like when
Scary.
you lose a game, you look at it and say, well, was this because this is what what Josiah's asking is like, dude, for an army list or versus practice or skill issues in a practice game.
So, as far as skill issues in a practice game go, I take the approach in a lot of my games, and this is not, not everybody in Team USA does this, not everybody in all the circles I run in do this. But I, in the games that I'm playing in practice, do not give a single fuck about winning or losing literally at all. It could not matter less. If someone needs to like rewind a whole charge phase or change an entire thing or like something's out of position and now I can see it, fucking just fix it. If it was in the laws of physics that it could have been true to do it correctly, just fix it. Because I don't want to run it again and again and again and again. Me personally, I get basically nothing from being like, oh, I played that badly, and if I play it better, next time it'll be fine. Because I don't have any, like, I know what I did wrong, but I also didn't really feel like I learned anything. I'm like, oh, if I play like an idiot, I lose. Well, that's true in every matchup, so what can I, like, actually do to make practical gains here? And for me, that looks like seeing what it looks like done the right way. But everybody learns differently. But yeah, like skill
There's also the
issues.
degree of like sometimes you're playing a practice game, but you're not playing a practice game, right? You're playing a game with somebody on the list, but they're not necessarily there to practice. So like you're just playing like a pickup game, or you're playing like
Yeah,
an RTT
that's
game
different.
with someone. Like but like for some people that is the practice that they can get. In those
Yeah.
situations, it's very much a case of take a step back and go. If your opponent rushed you, was it a deployment issue that you felt like? Where did you feel like your opponent's agency fell away, or your agency disappeared? Right? Was it because their unit got caught out and then you were able to snowball them? In which case it might be a snowballing matchup, but it's not necessarily a good matchup, right? It's kind of taking a step back and going, what was the thing that resulted in this going away? Is that a replicable thing? If it's not, you need more data. If it is, well, then it's probably a good matchup, right? If you're sitting there with your Fuegan and 15 fire dragons, and your opponent's just like, oh, I'm playing Chaos Knights and it's taken hold and all the objectives are in the open. Great, dude. That's probably a good matchup for you, because what's going to go differently, right? Like that's when a matchup feels good, is because the agency is replicable.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I just like, if you're playing like practice games with people, and they like catch an angle you didn't see and you could have just fixed it, and you like go to fix it and they're like, well, I could see you now. You just be like, all right, bro, up top, put it in the record books. You won that one. And then like fix it.
Fair. All right. The next question is from Aaron Imperialis Knight, who has my favorite animated GIF of an avatar where it's just Skeletor shaking his hands at the sky. What do you think?
Often.
What do you think needs to happen to Sororitas for them to even find players, let alone placings?
I mean, they're a pretty small rep faction, even when they're quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Anthony.
I think that while Eldar is out and good, Sisters will remain extremely low play rate because the people will just play that instead. Those factions have a ton of overlap in player base, I'm pretty sure, and at least at the highest levels. And if you want to feel really cool and smart and big brained and skill expressive about scoring really high points with your scoring units, you can just do it in Eldar right now, and there's no reason to do it in Sisters. And I think Eldar ate up a lot of the space that Sisters would normally want to be occupying from like a power budgeting perspective.
I think they probably need a few more miracle dice that are a little harder to generate, but consistent if you're playing the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's probably what I would.
the no interacto ones are probably
Yeah,
were probably a
like
bit
I
stupid.
think you could look at some of the older edition stuff. Like they used to get one whenever they rolled a 1 on a morale check. So if they maybe give them like if they pass a morale check, they get a miracle. They get one
Sure.
miracle dice at the end of that phase, right? Stuff like that. Where if you're in the playing the game and you're losing stuff and you're going below half strength and you're like playing the game, they can get some extra miracle dice. And
Yep.
then that's like gets them back to the point, but it's not just like, yeah, we're shitting out 15 a turn for free. It's like play the game, get some dice. You don't have them early game to like pop off with damage and alpha strike people, but in the mid game, you'll actually feel like you're playing an army. And then maybe put them back to like 1 per command phase rather than 1 per battle round, and don't leave the triumph with just the natural 6/1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then
I
it's
also-
like you get a bit more back. And
I
then
also think that you can just reduce the
points up.
cost on a lot of their stuff now that they can't use it as freely as they could before.
I think you do one of the two. I don't think you can really do both.
No,
I
I
just
like
go back.
that's the thing. Like it depends on which way you're going with it. Like you could make some fundamental changes so that they have a little bit more reliable access to miracle dice. But I hate that mechanic, so I would rather just give them more stuff to play with and have their mechanic be very limited in how well it could be, how much
Yeah,
it can be used.
I genuinely think Sisters Miracle Dice feel completely fine to play against now. I just think they could go down like a whole bunch in cost.
I think you could also take indirect off the exorcist. It never needed it in the first place.
Sure.
I think you just have to revert a bunch of points changes is actually what I was going to say.
Probably.
I think you just leave Miracle Dice alone as kind of like a semi-bad mechanic or like an only okay mechanic because of like the limited currency.
When it's good,
Like,
it's still really good. Yeah.
Like it's still good occasionally, but you can just reduce points and make a bunch of stuff better.
Hear me
and
out.
Visible.
Hear me out. Change nothing. Set them back to book points. See how it goes.
Cool. All right. The next question is from Ashley Thompson. Since we've established that a Legion of Excess is a mid-table bully army that doesn't work against good players, how bad would you have to be to lose the finals of a super major against them?
Did Ennis like for actual leave or just almost leave?
I think he left because of this question.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
I mean, like, A, great joke. Excellent execution. Good job. Funny. B, that's never been the point. Like that.
They're
I
a
don't.
solid army.
They're just pretty good. You can definitely get scammed by them. I
almost got scammed by them so hard.
Yeah. If you like walk yourself into getting scammed by them, it'll fucking happen to you. If you're greedy against LOE, they will cut your head off your shoulders. But if you're not, you know, usually it works out all right.
Yep. All right. And we have another question from Aaron, which is, I don't know if I'm allowed 2 questions, but you are allowed 2 questions. Innis,
Everyone
where on
else
Earth
is you're not actually. I
Yeah,
think.
just you. You're not allowed 2 questions.
New rule, bam.
Innis, where on Earth is the Scottish scene? I'm dying for games out here.
Aaron, drop me a message on Discord. I'm happy to connect you with wherever your local is, or to the wider like Team Scotland Discord. Just drop me a message. Same goes to anybody else who's playing in Scotland. Just DM me. It's totally fine.
Right. And Pumbaa has a question. How do pairings in 8-man? How do you do pairings in 8-man teams? Any tips for a first timer? Okay, Pumbaa.
What you do is you take your
What?
deck and you just shuffle them and then just randomly lay out 8 cards in a row and tell your opponents that's what you're playing against.
Yeah, that's the idea, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll go to the next question because I don't think we're going to go into a pairings lecture today.
I'm not going to explain pairings to Pumbaa, that's for shit sure.
You can watch the End of the Matrix video that Typhus and Pumbaa made on 8-man team pairings. That's on the StatCheck website. Pumbaa.
Typhus and Pumbaa, right?
Um,
But for anyone else who actually cares about that question answer, there is excellent resources out there from End of the Matrix.
Oh, pick my army for Saturday's art. This is from Jay. Pick my army for Saturday's RTT at my local. Librarius Conclave, Raven Guard, or Ultramarines, or Flyborn host, Death Guard.
Dude, I think that Libby Conclave is a fucking lame detachment. You have to track 800 things to be worse Gladius. That detachment sucks. Play Death Guard. That'll be more fun for you. It'll be more like achievable for your opponents. Just play that.
Also, if the Flyblown list is like 18 Jester and 60 Poxwalkers, send it.
Oh yeah, that's also like fun to use.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
But-
hilarious for your opponent to walk up to the table and go, they move how fast?
Fun to
Stack
use.
Shock is the best.
Fun to use in the context of Death Guard. It's it's a
Yeah.
relative thing.
The 20-inch moving Poxwalker squad into Stank Shock is still one of the most fun things I've ever done in Warhammer.
All right. Isaac has the next question, which is when's the next Innis video? Miss them.
Dude, I am really
busy.
trying. I have this awful feedback loop with anything that I try to do right now where the further and further I get away from doing like an LVO video or anything like that, it gets more and more like, oh, but it's so irrelevant now that it's becoming harder and harder. So I don't know. I'm working on it, but it's difficult. I'm a very momentum based person, and the momentum stopped there, and I need to ramp back up to it, and I kind of am struggling with that right now. So apologies. There will be more. I am working on it. I have done a lot of scripting and not a lot of recording. Is basically where we're at right now.
Okay.
Frank has the next question, which is how much indirect are we expecting to be seeing in the next few weeks/months? Can melee armies safely foot slog, or do they need multiple transports to be safe?
Melee armies never needed transports because of indirect. Melee armies need transports because they're insane in this edition.
Because it gives them movement, and they can hide in their little metal boxes from the bad things that want to kill them.
It reduces your footprint and it gives you additional like that 3-inch from disembark is like actually crazy. We don't talk about we don't talk about that enough. It's wild.
It's too much. Do
Yeah.
you remember how it used to not be wholly within as well? It was just touching 3.
I don't. That's before my time.
That
That's
was
fucking
eighth
nuts.
Yeah,
What?
it was just
Yeah.
touching 3
Yeah.
inches.
What?
You broke Anthony's poor mind.
Yeah, they were real good at 8th.
Yeah. Every model had to be within, but yes, it was still.
That's
You just had
crazy.
to touch.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So indirect more if Pyra is any indication. There seems to be quite a bit of indirect in some of those lists. Melee armies safely foot slog? No, that's never been true though. So nothing new there.
You definitely can foot slog. You don't have to because of indirect. It definitely helps.
Dude,
but
it's fucking dangerous out there. It's just like a dude on foot. Like the melee armies these days are fast and a lot of them fly. Like if you're just not like a man with no box, you're in danger.
but Yunari can't, right? So, well, it depends. Sometimes people
Pyre, they can.
No. Also, a lot of Yunari fights first, and they move again if you shoot at them. So
That's true. Yeah.
Yep.
But Plagueburst Scrawlers are never bad. Are always close to being good. Gene Circle players putting a lot of indirect in their lists.
Dude,
Eldar,
I
I think at least Tempest launchers are kind of bad still. So.
dude, the mortars from fucking cars, what? They hurt so bad. I've been watching people just get domed by the fucking
Why are they strength 6?
Not anything crazy, just like 3 mortar cars in Biosanctic, right? Just like, nothing too wild, just being like dead aspects. It's just like, oh, just tear apart whole screens. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Why are if you want to ignore cover is a good number. I'm playing look. I'm not saying I'm taking 3 and 3 saboteurs to Manchester, but
Thinking about
I'm
it.
not taking 3 and 3 to Manchester. I might take 3 and 2. I'm not sure about the 3rd saboteur yet, but
Yep.
she is right here to get painted. So
I will say the other cool thing about Boston is being able to go to UK events, possibly to see that kind of stuff.
True. It's so easy.
It's like a short flight, like 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that.
It's
weird.
8,
I was
but
very surprised
it
I could get
8?
a direct
Oh,
flight
damn.
to Toronto.
That's
from
about
here.
It's
the same.
not 8.
it's something like that. It might be 6.
All right.
6
Six
more
is-
cars and 3
six is
saboteurs
better.
might be excessive. Like
Okay. There
footprint
is a point where it's too much.
Footprint's a real thing on Ridge Runners as well. They're very invested in not getting shot.
Goran has the next question, which is you are at a tournament and it's going well, but now you are paired into your worst matchup on paper. How can you win that matchup? Like any melee into Bridgehead, what things/paths are you looking for in general?
Any melee into Bridgehead?
Yeah, some melee lists are allowed to take infiltrators. Some of them get to cheat. For the rest of us, though, you look for high variance plays with lots of upside, and you ignore their downside because you were gonna fucking lose anyway.
Yeah.
Look, just go for the fallback lock, bro.
Yeah, just fuck it, whatever. The alternative is getting shot to death. That was gonna
So you
happen
may as well
anyway,
just
wasn't
Take
it?
for the
So
one chance where you don't get shot to death.
yeah,
Don't do what I did at LGT and do low variance, high risk plays.
Yeah,
that's bad decision. Wouldn't have mattered, but yeah, don't try to kill a Death Strike Vault with 4 last cannons.
yeah.
All right. Next.
Yeah,
question
first off,
from-
Ben knows this very strongly.
First
Yeah.
off,
Godspeed round 6 at LVO, dude.
Dude, it
Round-
just depends.
round 5 at LVO.
Yeah,
Right.
if you have
That's the next-
infiltrators or hunting grounds, you too can beat Bridgehead.
fuck.
That's it, though.
Lately, McWhirp has the question of lately it's felt that the stats are hiding, in quotation marks, information a bit. A lot of armies people are most scared of seem to have middling stats, Bridgehead, Tactical, Ultras, Elves, and a lot of mid-table menaces, Custodes, Drakari, Demons have high stats. Is there a better way to look at stats to figure out what's actually going on? I mean, the first thing you do is you look at detachment stats a bit.
Go and watch our last episode where we did a bunch of this.
Yep.
Like, I get that that's a shitty answer, but, go and have a look at the stuff that we were doing to try to find data that represented what we thought was happening, right? Which, look at the top table data, look at the mid table data, compare it, have a think about why it's going different, drill down into detachment differences, have a look at detachment win rates. You got to look for the information that you're looking for. If you're looking for a broad overview of the meta, the stats is great for that. If you want to figure out how a detachment is at high level play, you got to go look at high level play in the data set. That's the only real way to do it.
Yep. The other thing is to be, and I think this is important, is to be cognizant of sample sizes a little bit. As you drill down, eventually you drill down too far, and then you have like 2 games being played.
I only care
like,
about the games that Sam Pope played with Tyranids.
Yeah. Eventually you
Dry
get
Love
too
Elo
deep.
all the way to 99.
Eventually you get too deep and you need to stop. But you should drill down.
What's Josh Loss do with Gladius?
There you go. Yeah. Eventually the data doesn't
Turns out
become
it's
useful
Drukari and
anymore.
Legion of Excess.
There you go.
I think that's kind of always happened.
Mhm.
And what we're getting now is that, like, it's good that we have a lot of, like, narrative from GDub on how stuff is getting balanced. But my hope is that they are actually drilling through things and looking at, what detachments do rather than just the banner. Because
In Josh we trust.
yeah, and that is why, ladies and germs, it is good to have a high-level tournament player doing the balancing.
Yep.
Particularly if they're choosing to devote a whole shitload of their free time outside of their work time to these things.
Yep. Chris Polly has the next question, which is, when are we going to get Innis to take Imperial agents to a GT just to prove it can be won with?
I mean, if you're going to hand them the fucking army and go nuts, but...
Also, I just want to say YouTube thought that was a spam comment because it refused to make me post that.
That's funny.
And
Er-
on that note, Chris, agents actually did win a GT this weekend. They won Warzone Wellington down in New Zealand,
Yeah!
beating friend of the show, Steve Joel, in the finals.
Oh.
I know. I was just like,
Oh, no.
Steve, you were so close.
It can be done. Well done. Congrats.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, and
I don't need
it
to
was
do
an agents list with no Canis. It was just agents data sheets.
Godspeed. Was it the new detachment with the heroic? Damn, that's the only way.
No, it's Imperial's fleet because that's the only thing that anyone wants to play right now.
My poor Assassin's detachment.
Yeah.
One day.
They did have 2 very low scores, which leads me to think that there were some time issues with that list or time issues with that player. But
Who knows? All right.
when you win
next
with
question's
55
from-
points, something's weird.
Oh, yeah. Ross has the next question, which is the best use of demons and 8-mans if Slanesh is taken out the back and kneecapped in March.
We don't know.
No, it's easy. What? Hello? We do know. Index. Index is like, it's not good. It's still demons, but like it's the next best thing.
But it could still, Legion could get kneecapped and still be better than Index.
True.
I think there's an argument
That's
that
how
Index
much
is
it
better. I think there's an
I
argument
think
that's
index
quite
is
much.
better.
I think there's an
It
argument
depends
index.
how it gets nerfed. It depends what else gets changes around
I
it.
think
Like,
there's an argument index is better right now. We'll see how Mr. Larson does this weekend.
fair.
All right. Next question is from Andy, stemming from the agency discussion from last week. Do you have any advice for players who are playing significantly out of their skill bracket, like 50th versus 95th? I know you need to play people better than you to improve, but how do you extract something positive when you can't outplay your opponent?
Okay.
You
So if we're talking about 50th to 95th, you're just like most likely gonna get just like fucking smoked. And that's okay. Because ideally, afterwards, you can ask what you could have done better. And in this and only this specific scenario, is that a question worth asking? I've had very strong opinions about this specific type of questioning in the past, but I think in this, very specifically this scenario, you can probably get a whole bunch out of that, assuming the other person's like cool and able to like, reflect and give you some of that in exchange for ostensibly getting a fairly
And the other
straightforward
thing
path.
here is fucking swing for it, man. You're not going to win by doing nothing. Go for the high risk plays, man. Sometimes
Yeah.
they work.
we have a
People lose
joke
games all
locally
the
that
time.
anytime someone is worried about playing against someone like Francois, Rickard will pipe up and say, just treat it like free coaching for 3 hours.
Yeah.
The least
Or-
funny joke to be on the receiving end of, by the way.
Or deploy on the line and roll nines. You want to watch Francois sweat for 3 hours, take some high risk shit, and make the nice stable teacher man's life very complicated for 3 hours.
I have a not safe for YouTube
Yep.
thing that I'd say in this situation, which I'll not repeat here.
Yeah.
But it's very related to hitting 9 inches.
Yeah,
There you go.
you do it.
All right. Next question is from. It's not a question, so I'm not
Another
going to do it.
question.
Andy, for the Thunderdome idea, you can submit up to 2,000 point list to fight the multiple Magnuses. The person with the cheapest list that can kill them wins.
That's
Okay.
also another question.
I would gladly hold this challenge if we can also coordinate Liam to play the 4 Magnuses. If someone can beat him, I will figure out some form of prize for you.
No, there's not enough rubrics for him to roosh with.
It doesn't matter. He's got 4 Magnuses.
Oh, actually, that's true. That's a real problem.
But Liam does say you have to lose Magnus on turn 1 to be appropriately rushing.
I mean, that's
You can
only
do
one
it.
of them. Now he's got 3 more. What are you going to do?
He's rushing with a -1 damage Magnus because he took +2.
The other one's over there. Yeah.
That's rough.
All right. The next question is from, man, I'm going to butcher this name. Jerry, I hope. I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Question
that's
from
pretty good.
Anthony. He recently talked about playing to your outs in bad matchups. What do you mean by that?
What we just talked about.
Yeah. You find high variance plays that are likely to bring success. You have to take a real stern look at, like, all right, as an example, right? Going into WTC this year, I was playing World Eaters. My matchup into Thousand Suns was fucking hopeless. My options were a medical incident at the table for a Thousand Suns player and going first after I deployed on the line and pretended that going second was fake. I couldn't bank on one, so I had to go with 2. What we really went with was the third hidden option, which was we never pair me into Thousand Suns. But if I had to, and there was no other option, literally the only thing that could be done to scrape more than a 0 was to deploy literally everything on the line and hope that I went first. And that was followed by them having a bounce term. The scenario in which you like go second, you're already losing. So it does not matter how much worse you make going second in that scenario. Is a similar situation. So like I talk about this a bunch because I came up in a meta that was really challenging for a new player to gain just any traction in. Like Sean, TJ, Fennel, too many good people in my local. There was no fucking chance that I was going to box upwards against 2 decades of high-level competitive experience. Just wasn't fucking happening. If we play 5 clean rounds of Warhammer, you know who's not winning that game? This guy. You know who has a shot if a whole bunch of dice are involved and we play for 2 rounds? This guy. So I developed playing more aggressive as a result of that. Obviously, that's since refined, and now I'm more skillful.
Get the game scrappy. Look for the things
But-
that your list wins
yeah.
the game on. What does it look like when your list wins a game? Look for ways to make that happen. Is it bank it up on 2 objectives and hoping they draw shit cards? That's an out if you got to.
Yep.
Look for a way. Find a thing that look what your opponent's list is not good at. Even if it's a list that beats yours, what's its weakness? Go for its scoring units. Go for its objective holders. Do something, right? Don't choke out and die in your deployment zone.
Yeah, that.
If you have a 99% chance of losing, find that 1% chance play, even if it's fucking unlikely.
Yep.
Yeah. If your play has a 5% chance of working, that's 5 times more likely than it is to win the game doing nothing.
Yeah. And never,
There you go.
ever drop your pyropod on cultists.
Especially when your opponent goes, please don't
Please
do this.
don't.
It's real. Nathan, I do want to win, but I don't
Not
want to
like
win
this.
this way.
Yeah.
This is why I'm going to bring a pyropod and just drop it on cultists again in the future every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do. You're not getting them into Anthony's cultists. You're not getting into his backfield.
That's true.
It's true.
Maybe after
Really
his 20
something
Fuegans shoot me, Mike.
True. Look,
20 Fuegans in a
sometime-
pyropod.
any tips on how to get people to actually read player packs? Look, college professors can't get people to read syllabuses.
Hey,
There
hey,
are
Rickard.
way more of those.
Hey, Rickard, how's it feel?
Wait, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. You just put a little discount code for the store in there and tell people it's in there, and then you just don't put one in.
It doesn't work.
No.
No. The last part is important. You just don't. You just don't put one in. So they look through the whole thing and they're like, "Where the fuck is this
No,
code?"
no, that
There's
doesn't
not
work
one
either.
in there.
Look, the player
So
pack begins.
We
to
have
exist
a
on Saturday
truly
morning
cruel
related
one
notifications.
for the next GT for Dragon for people who don't read the pack, and that's
Okay.
all I'm gonna say.
All right.
Oh. I mean, you could
So
just
look-
make it a penalty.
Yeah, you can do shit like there's like a fucking secret passphrase you've got to put in your list title or some shit like that. And if you don't put it in the pack, like you don't get battle penalty.
You get a 10.
You
You
can
lose
do-
your battle
it's
ready for
punitive.
round 1.
Yeah,
It's punitive. I don't read packs. I'm not gonna read packs. You can't make me.
that's true. Pickle.
I just ask my friends if there's more than one person to purge the foe, and if there is, I don't go.
It's true. Actually, if there's most of the time, if there's any purge the foe, I'm just like, what are we doing? And then I don't bother. But if it's early enough, I won't care.
If there's
I
any,
will
if
just
supply drop's
say-
the final, I will not be there.
Oh, supply drop
supply
is
drop-
great.
If
Supply drop, I will go
anywhere in there. I just don't want to.
No, supply drop is an incredible mission. It's so much better than like Terraform and Servo Skulls and all those other ones. It's so good.
So this brings me to our last super chat question. That isn't a question, but is funny.
They're never questions.
Brother
I don't know why we
Tobias, thank
pretend.
you for the £5. I finally encountered world leaders going first on Search and Destroy and Terraform. I have to say I could have done without the experience.
Yeah, look, that's probably not awesome, but that's Terraform's fault. World leaders have never done anything wrong.
Mhm.
All right, and then the last question of the night is from... Oh, no, that was Rickard.
Nailed
Sick.
it.
Nathan, do the things before people ask more questions. I want to go to bed.
Oh, sure. I'm gonna scroll to it. It'll just take me a second. All right, Church of the High Five. Find a pin. Click on the pin. Open the pin. I hope somebody did something fun this week. Otherwise, I'm gonna be real sad.
I like
All
that.
right.
Pictures aren't that funny.
It's true. All right. So if you join our most expensive tier, which is our $15 a month tier, which is the Cult of the High Five / Crisp High Five tier, then and only then will I give you these call outs where I thank you at the end of every episode and you get to write whatever the hell you want within reason.
Within reason.
Sometimes I'm not going to read it if it's going to cancel us, guys. You can't just be some kind of weird internet anonymous troll in here. You
Yeah,
can, but to a
until we get
degree.
Nos on the show, no one's getting cancelled here.
True. All right. First, thank you. Thank you to Christopher. Congratulations to Nathan for selling out. Enjoy moving to Boston. You're going to do amazing things in your new role, Irvine. Oh, that's like really nice. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Damn. Thank you to Willow Weeks. Thank you to Dan F. Thank you to Luke, Dan F. and McCarthy. Thank you to David, Rounded GW Terrain Templates Clark. Okay. Thank
That's
you.
so specific.
Your ear. I don't know why I like that one a lot. Thank you to James H. Thank you to Colton Dan F. Miller. Thank you to Fungus. Thank you to John VA Gang. If Curie's Choice wins the vote for the team's vibe check and he ignores the results and picks WTC, is it still Curie's Choice? Thank you, Cam F.
Curious Choice is 7th edition FLG layouts. We're all playing on chance.
Damn.
Ah,
Thank you to Cam, F. Dan, Morton, Hog Emoji. Thank you, your friendly neighborhood Eldar Union representative, Archon Rahal. Thank you, Josiah Gattle. Thank you, Tank Commander Frankie. Thank you, Isaac. Real men don't run Yanari and Bridgehead. They run 159 GSC models and 4 Obliterators and Bile Tirada.
Well,
Thank
the thing
you
is,
to-
Isaac, you'll be playing all of those for Vibe Check League if you're playing a team of 5 by yourself.
Thank you to Thomas. Nobody told me Pyra had a player pack of Requation. Thank you
That's
to
it.
I work a 9 to 5 now to afford going to tournaments. Thank you, Eldar Local 131. Thank you to Tom Malachi McKayson's overall aggressive Scottish accent, which I
Yes.
can't do, but Innes.
No.
Damn.
This is not
Innes-
the
Alright.
second. I have to
Innes
suffer through the
definitely could.
plugs, you do this.
Thank you to I don't know, Malachi McKayson. I can't do it.
So much better than I would have done.
Thank you to I'm using this space to ask people attending that event I mentioned to read the damn players pack, or else super heavy walkers will have true line of sight at all times.
Oh, that's a good
thank
idea.
Thank you to a blank space next to Ben, and then thank you to thanks for all the stats exclamation point. Thank you to all of you fools who do that. It is
I
very
want to do one quick
appreciated.
shout out again for the Vibe Check League if you want to take part and see such teams as Wesh, captained by Liam VSL, which is Alex Sacco, Jack Harpster, Jesper Hernander Sharon, Liam VSL, and Nassim Fushane.
Oh fuck! What is that?
I can't believe it's not called Roosh, dude. Unreal.
It's called Wesh. So if you want to play against teams like that, you could check out patreon.com/statcheck or you put your membership program down below. Best of luck to anybody who's at a tournament this weekend, unless you're a pirate, in which case I hope you all fucking die because we didn't get to go.
Also, I have
Wow.
one final shout out, and it's important. Thank you to Anthony in particular for all of the sellout promotion for
Oh,
like 2
yeah.
years. Anthony looks so
I don't
confused
get
and
it.
bothered.
I was like, what did I do?
Um,
Yes, for actual years.
Yes, for years of being like, Nathan, you look real sad at this postdoc thing. You should
Yeah.
stop.
Dude, this stuff sounds like it sucks. Why are you doing this thing that's terrible? Go sell out and be
Exactly.
rich. Woo!
So thank you to Anthony for that. That's it. That's all I got.
And it's a reminder that all you really need in life is a PhD and good friends.
Yeah.
And you two
Maybe
can make
just
not
the-
enough.
maybe-
You can make
maybe
not
just the
enough money for
second one.
Boston.
Please don't do the second one. Please don't do the first one. Just do the second.
I mean, like, if you're gonna get a PhD, you might as well get fucking paid. What are we doing?
That's why you should get your PhD in machine learning or artificial intelligence and not in biology.
I actually think there's a lot less value in those, and perhaps you want to be the guy that keeps the machines running than the one that tells them how to run. But that'd be your
All
own
right, guys.
thing.
With that, I'm gonna leave it there before things get far too deep into the career tank. As somebody who talks about Warhammer for a living, let's not do that right now. I hope everybody has a good evening. Catch you all next time.